All right, so this is the most recent question we had was about just a lifestyle, and I know what it is. We can ease into it, but you just touched like, do you think that you would take a second, like a primal, unconscious second glance at the shape of a breast if you weren't breastfed?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I think about it all the time, like how it's like stunning, like it really is. Like I really understand that now. That whole being stunned because it's so guttural, like it's so entrenched in like the like what Patrice be saying, like who you are, but you need to know what you are, like being a male, like, and then yeah, like if you were breastfed, you just see things like to recondition everything, the responses to everything. Like it would be crazy to change that. It's like part of the hardware almost now. Like sometimes like just seeing it, and it's really it's wild though, like how to like to just how to just know to realize that and not be able to, you know what I mean, and just not identify with it.
Yeah,
and not just be caught up in it and objectifying.
it's a similar thing. Like if you're in a room, it's quiet, and there's like a loud noise, and like who jumps and looks,
Yeah,
and who doesn't.
yeah,
And like the difference of like the difference in the nervous system, because it's typically people with shallow breath, they're jumping, they're in the parasympathetic, or they're in the sympathetic,
yeah,
and if you're in the parasympathetic deeper breath, something like that happens, you don't even get shocked like everyone else. So probably the same thing once you realize what's going on, even with breasts.
yeah, yeah, and I always think about that, like how deeply entrenched is the ones I like. Is it just like how deeply ingrained is it in my biology at this point? Like, why is it the ones I like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy, like, how that goes. But, I really, I don't know, it's so much of that is like, it's crazy because I know, Dr. Africa used to always, talk about the Twa and, the people in Africa that all sleep skin to skin, and it doesn't create like a difference. Like everybody, it's like whether it's any extremity, it's all the same. It's just like people not doing anything. It's like such a harmony that you wouldn't even think like that, I guess. You know what I mean? The way people were sleeping.
Yeah.
So so it's almost like how all the puppies sleep together. Like it's like they all just be together, like in any direction, in any way. It's no, no separation. So it's like, it's so crazy how when people are naked or nude all the time, how it removes the mystery in that. So then you go into, you'd be naturally inclined to go into more deeper mysteries than just that.
Yeah, that's just the body being emphasized to the exclusion of the mind and spirit. Like that's in that, because I'm, as far as like looking at the Tao and the Wao Ching, and when the body, people are just stuck in the body and they're not looking at the mind or spirit. You could be married to the fertile reproductive as part of the great mother, but you don't get to know her immeasurable heart or her all-knowing mind. You're just still in the reproductive valley.
Yeah.
Where people are just like in those places where, and it's, as far as it being, how hardwired is that? If it is something like that goes to like when you were that young as a baby, engaging with the feminine, however that was for you at that time, that's just going to determine what you prefer now. But there's other artificial programming that goes into it, as far as, TVs weren't around, porn wasn't around, 200 years ago. Yeah. TV and porn specifically, those things weren't around. So I feel like now we're sort of in this generation where it's
prostitution was legal though.
There's prostitution.
So it's like it ruins like it makes it to where it's not mysterious. Like now you're paying for it. Now you're like, you should be ashamed, and it's like, like I don't know, like, and it's different. It creates, it's like why with cocaine, you make anything illegal, then it's like it creates all that mystery, and it creates all of that supposed profit. All of that. So all of that gets seen by once you make it illegal, then you create a way to abuse it, kind of. And on all angles, whether you're the cops, the robbers, the user, like everybody's using it, in one way or another. And it's just like, it's just so much, like, it's just crazy how like once it's understood, and that that you got to go to this brothel to get this, you know, and these girls get seen by doctors or whatever, and there's, you know, bouncers here, so you can't just like beat up on the girls or nothing. So stuff like that, you know what I mean? It makes it to where like, yeah, you know, you're a simp. You come in here paying to get your rocks off. You know, it's totally different. It makes it a different world. Like, and it makes it to where you just want to get people off their own merit more than, you know, I guess just trying to satisfy your senses or whatever, what's going on there.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at with this, as far as like looking at the difference. Cause yeah, there's brothels, but I'm talking more of like when we get exposed to the image, or if out of the corner of your eye you see something that's shaped like a breast. For most men, it's like that urge to look, or it's just something about the level of sexuality that we're engaging with on a regular basis. Just how people are driven by certain all these unconscious factors, but how it can really like how we're affected specifically by it in the context of Tantra, like what's going on with me personally, since it's been seeing certain images. Because I remember I feel like the example that comes to mind. You ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
Remember Chi-Chi?
I don't know.
It was this is Vegeta's wife, you know. But you know, it's just these images. Even the very first, if you go to the very first season of Dragon Ball, it was really, there's some like things about perversion and stuff. They were just jokes, just common jokes. Like if you go to the first episode, it's just like something about breasts, or like, you know, the uncle looking at porn, and you'll see the breasts, or you'll see like some young girl taking a bath, and you know, wherever.
Oh yeah, Dragon
you know?
Balls, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like those shapes, that image that I'm seeing at like age 6 or 7 or like 5, you know, and that's giving me all these preferences sexually later on that I feel like the word that I still need to know better, but I want to introduce to the conversation is just fetishism. How things get fetishized, like to and what really is a fetish, you know. And I came upon that term in the terms of in the world of the art and the economy, and how commodities get fetishized, as far as people saying, because of how we feel collectively about how attractive this item is, that's how much value it has, you know, a different commodity, you know, or something like that. But it just feels like what I'm intuiting is we're engaging from a place of separation. But in a place like the Western world, where there's so much spiritual and mental sickness, you know, when we're engaging with sexuality from a perspective of separation like that, and we're fetishizing the body, and then we're getting certain images at a young age on screens and stuff like that. That's all that I experienced, to where then maybe 11 or 12 porn comes in the picture. You know, as far as me being able to look at that and then just jerk off, but then ejaculate, and then start to just get the endorphins and the drugs, the high of ejaculating at like age 12 or 11, you know, unconsciously through these images. I'm rewiring my body. My entire sexuality is just being geared towards that high, or that pleasure of that, and then dealing with, okay, that's all I do, and then it becomes compulsive, to where all the sessions are fast and it's just to bust, and then for a long extended period of time of that, now it's just this premature issue, right? Of like, and then just being too hypersensitive and numb and cut off from myself, and then still with all these reference experiences of all these memories and reference points I have of me, my body experiencing that, you know, how hard it is to get out of that level of sexuality into true Tantra for what has been articulated as, because that's all I could really get at, you know, getting into Stuffed Pig and 2020 Tantra specifically. It was just those ones. But then, you know, conceptually seeing that, you know, before that, you know, still got the natural stroke, you know, dude out here just still connecting, just where I'm at with my insight that I came here with. I feel like that definitely transferred to everything in my life, including all my sexual encounters, to where it's still tantric. You know, there's really energetically charged. I'd say there's probably lots of energy. But, you know, as far as how I've been going about it, it's just, even recently, it's just, I'm unwiring all this. I'm undoing all these things. But the experiences I've been able to have, as far as, you know, learning what I could, and then applying it has been so profound, to where, you know, my recent relationships, it's got to that next problem that we were talking about, as far as, you know, once you're able to get to where your body is getting to that level, now you have to start to deal with the emotions of undeveloped partners, spiritually undeveloped partners, you know, like, and then that's sort of what could give Greg here, whoever was asking the question, just more insight to the lifestyle. But I've really it's just getting out of my head and into the presence, the cellular presence in my body, you know, in encounters, you know, whatever I can do to get to that point. And it's going to be different for everyone, but it definitely enhances that experience. And then when I have the knowledge that I'm not supposed to be ejaculating, so semen retention, which was what he asked, you know, it's just not doing that. I hadn't been ejaculating, but still I had been just pressing the button. If you're aware, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, pressing a button.
Yeah, there's a button. It's just like in the perineum. It's like, yeah. It's just I've heard of that. Like if I was about to bust, I just hit the button. I just apply the pressure there to where I don't actually spill the seed, but I didn't ejaculate properly. But that's like that's the very last ditch effort that it's supposed to be. But then I just was leaning on that shit for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, but it starts there as far as being able to apply the pressure in the perineum with your hand to where you don't actually spill the seed. But that should be your very last thing that you have to do if you have to ejaculate. Otherwise, you're not even doing it at all, and you're just coming from where Taylor's coming from.
Yeah, it's weird now. You know what I mean? I wonder, like, if I really can even at this point, like, if my body will give it up unless it's, you know,
like you're the opposite. Like as far as not being able to spill the seed.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like how that is. Like, oh man, like, and you know, the only time that I've ever betrayed it in my adulthood is fucking chicks that I shouldn't have been fucking, man. Mm-hmm. That's the only time it's ever happened, man. Like, and where I was like, or like where it was like, all right, you need to stop fucking with her now. Either it was a chick that was like, yeah, was not like emotionally attracted to her. I was just physically attracted. You know what I mean? It was like, it would force me to, I would have to resort to my head more. Because I'm like having to keep myself aroused because I'm not really into her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I'm having to like flash back and do things like, but you know, whatever in my mind is sexy.
The mental gymnastics.
Yeah, you know.
Emotional gymnastics.
And it'd be like a beautiful chick. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, man. Like, you know, and so sometimes it'd be crazy how that is. You know what I mean? How it'd be, sometimes it'd be, I'm like, damn. You know, usually this would be simple, but I really don't like you.
On what level?
You know what I mean? Like, intellectually, you know what I mean?
Intellectually,
I just be like, damn, man, intellectually and emotionally, I'm like, fuck, man, you're dumb. But like, you know what I mean? Like, but I want to fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm here. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I would always be like, only time that would happen, I'd be like living in like rushed. Like a lot of time, it's crazy. Like, it's like a certain, when I know shit is going wrong now, I've had it happen in like the handful of times it's happened in my 20s to where I was like, I know like where I'm like, I'm going into the scenario where this is going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, and I just know like all the like the stop signs on the way. Like, look, it's a dead end, man. You could stop now. Yeah. And I feel like I've experienced them all. Like I used all like really, and from after I got divorced in my early 20s to like, yeah, like, I don't know. So like, I would say like 22 to 25 is when I was like, I would go up and down where I would like have extreme mastery over it. And then like, you know, other times where I'd just be like, man, that was crazy. I should have just stopped. Cause sometimes like I would be like, you know, I could just get out, you know, the chick has come enough and I'll just be pushing it, trying to get more energy.
Wow.
And then it'll happen like, fuck. And I lost my chips, all the chips. You know?
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, that's happened. So like I've seen like just knowing when to stop. Like where I was like, all right, I've already got enough energy, man. There's no point in just dish ragging her even more. Like I could just stop. Like
just be modest.
Yeah. And then other times where like I should have known to never start and never stop. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. Like,
yeah.
You know, times where I'm like, I have to fuck her because how could I not fuck her? I would judge myself if I didn't fuck her. Wow. So I just did it. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, like, damn, I really don't like you or whatever. Like, it'd be different times where it'd be like multiple girls and then like it'd be an exchange where I end up with one. And I'm like, fuck, picked the wrong one. This is not what I want. Now I'm in a situation where I got to fake the funk. And like, now I just know when to quit. Nice. Now I just know when to be like, I quit.
Yeah. It's when it's actually aligned, then it's like, it's not just sexual, it's mental and spiritual. And it's balanced between those three. And when you can get that for yourself, that's great, but then you're finding yourself when you balance that, and then you come across people who are just too overly in the sexual, and they're undeveloped mentally and spiritually,
which is a lot of females.
And that's it's probably like 99%.
Yeah, they be really,
like,
you know what I mean, sexually dominant. So backwards, man. So fucking backwards.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And so because of that imbalance, that's just all that that's all the grief, all the suffering that you went through, to the point where you're like now saying, okay, I know when not to start. Sometimes you just like knowing, like, I just because it would be great, and you followed through with that before, just to fuck her, because you can't not. But now after seeing on the other side of what that actually does, and what both, what you have to go through, when not, who not to engage with now, at this point in the tantric lifestyle.
Yeah, man, like, it just, just not betraying my body. Like, when I know there's a certain level of communication, and then, like, you just know, like, I don't know, everybody has a certain layer of persona that's, like, just kind of embedded from their environment, and then, like, when people are, like, I don't know, man, it's just, like, when you can just pick up on certain things on people, like, so fast on them, and you just be like, man, damn, man, like, honestly, when it comes to females, like, it really does. I at the same time, like, they always say, if you're the kind of male that your sister would date, then then you're a good dude. But at the same time, if this female is not, if she was a dude, if I wouldn't like her, then I don't like her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, if I don't want to hang out with you, and besides the vagina, then I don't really like you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of females are just like, I don't know if I'm being like, I should stop focusing on how interesting they are, because they're just not interesting as people. I feel like they're not cultivated as individuals. A lot of them, like, most times, they're just heavily distracted and emotional. Like, a lot of them.
And then overly, and then just energetically, it's just all overly sexual or sexually dominant.
And then they move mad from an entitled ass place. So then it's just like, oh my God, man, who the fuck told this bitch it was like, you just gotta deal with that. I don't know, man. It's just such a crazy thing, man, with chicks, man. Like, not all of them, but like, for the most part, you're dealing with people that are extremely lazy. You know what I mean? That have not cultivated themselves because they're beautiful.
Well, here's where I'm at. Is like, you're not dealing with them. You're dealing with their inferiors. Or that's where I'm saying is like, there's my lifestyle. It's personal development, and like, this person has they have a superior self. They have a self in them that is like in most relationships when people meet, that's kind of who's there, is the potential of the best, the best potential of who they could be. And then they start to if they get taken over by their inferiors, which I'm studying the I Ching philosophy, and it's just going through what inferiors are. They're just the dwarves, the 7 dwarves, the Snow White. These are just your grumpiness, or your wrathfulness, or your envy. There's these more inferior personality traits that some people end up being dominated by in their consciousness. But sometimes when the clouds part, you can see who they really are, their superior self, who's there. Because when I'm getting in a relationship with somebody, that's all that's gonna be going on. Is they're gonna be coming to themselves and then kind of getting away from themselves, and coming to themselves and getting away from themselves. Like, as far as getting away from themselves, that's just when they're slipping to when I don't want to be around you. But it's not me. That's just because that's my inferiors. That's like my personality that is developed, that's rubbing up against theirs to cause this conflict. And a lot of people, they love that conflict, if you see that. But it's like, if I can see where it's like, okay, when I know that there's more that needs to go into it as far as who I'm choosing to engage with. And then once I do engage with it, there's this other part about how I need to see that it's like, damn, if I'm like seeing that they're pissing me off, I gotta withdraw emotionally. I have to literally, if they're behaving in a way to where I'm like, man, that's dumb or something like that, I can't, me going to that place is like already jeopardizing my integrity. As far as just like, instead of when they're doing things like that, I have to learn about how to withdraw my awareness to my inner realm when I recognize that they're being overrun by aspects of themselves that are not who it really is. and I have to like know what that is. Like the sage is knowing what's going on whenever I get off the path, and he doesn't even. He just. It's not. It's not personal. It's not emotional. It's just like more. I can get to a detached place. This is where I'm. This is what I feel like is gonna. If the next relationship I get into, it's gonna be like. It's not. If it's not someone who's on a higher level than me, or someone someone who is at a similar level. Or no. If it's not someone who's at a higher level, it's just gonna be that. Like it's gonna be personal development because that's all that life is looking like. Even from the I Ching perspective, as far as like just the constant changing, and that being really where I'm looking to get all my goals is as far as like just being happy with like being on the path, and then so any partner that I get with, like that's just what it's gonna be. So I have to see like, okay, now there's this like I really have to see how I actually like emotionally react to somebody. There's just even more to it. It's just all spiritual training still. Like the whole thing. But yeah, that's just from spending like just even like a month and a half like talking to you about your experiences and like where you feel like, because it's like a really grim view on the entire world as far as like the whole selection, like the pool of selection that
for what I did, you know what I mean, from my experiences, you know what I mean, because the way I'm looking at it is the way travel's being clamped down. I feel like, do I really want to be with the type of chick that's gonna accept that vaccine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like at the same time, like, you know what I mean? It's like it's just making my options slimmer because the chicks. So now if you're not traveling, like you're not gonna have the experience on Earth that I've had. So the only chicks that they're gonna be able to see the Earth is these chicks that cave to the system. That's the only ones I'm gonna be able to talk to, and I'm not gonna be able to talk to them really. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what the fuck's going on with that.
Yeah.
So like, I just like it's just that's kind of where I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? Where the way international travel look like it's headed, you know what I mean? Because like you think France not letting Americans in that don't have the vaccine, and they was talking about the America's talking about not letting people in that haven't had the vaccine, and like I just feel like it's gonna, you know what I mean? Where's it gonna be in some years? It might not be that way right now. But like, I did a lot of traveling in the last, since I've turned 18, you know what I mean? I'm 31. So in the last 13 years, you know what I mean? I've been around the world a few times, lived in every continent except for Australia. Like, you know what I mean? I spent time in Australia, but like, I never stayed there for no significant time.
You met a lot of women in different continents.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I met a lot of people. And I feel like there's beautiful people all around the world, and candidates all around the world. I just don't know, like, as far as for me personally, breeding, having my experience, having this inclination to, be putting the breath as such a high priority in their life, and in a way that could complement my lifestyle and I complement theirs, and it's mutual benefit, and we could go beyond from there. You know what I mean? But
yeah, that's the holy grail here.
Yeah, like, that's a lot. I feel like I'm asking a lot. You're asking for
a lot. Yeah, but why would you doubt you're getting it?
I mean, I just can't be spoiled at the same time. I can't forego the knowledge of the circumstances. I can't be attached to them, but
yeah,
you know what I mean. I can't forego. I'm looking at at some level. I'm looking at it like everything is in Windows. You know what I mean? Windows 98. Everything is Windows. Like, it really is though, like, you know what I mean, like your periods, and I feel like I'm like trying to just gear up for maybe a later window to have maybe later in my 30s if thing, you know what I mean, if it's possible. I don't know, but I just know like getting older, my body getting older or whatever, like I'm gonna just get more and more content with less, and I don't know if I'll be up for it. If I reach a certain age, I'll probably just be like, nah, fuck it, you know what I mean. I'm not doing that now. You know what I mean? At this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it would just feel weird, I think. Just because, like, again, I had to either be a stepdad or, like, I mean, I guess I'd be more cool being a stepdad if I just never had get the chick pregnant and I'm just like, whatever. I still have all my property.
Wow.
I mean, I guess, and I was just banging some chick with a kid, you know what I mean? And that's just some chick I hang out with all the time. That's another thing, I guess. If I never have a kid with her, you know what I mean? Then I don't feel so simpish in my life. You know what I mean? But if I do have a kid,
a second kid or third.
I wouldn't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to. No. So I'd rather keep it separate if it's like that. And that'd be the only way I could do something in my older ages, I think, where I still have mine, they have theirs, and we just see each other a lot. You know what I mean? And I hit it, whatever. But I don't think, you know what I mean? It's like the candidates are getting to, you know, I guess the oil and vinegar are going to really split soon, you know, here. You know, the people in the society want
geopolitically.
A, see it, people in society B, it will go in their ways. And I guess that's, you know, I have to just go from there. And I guess I'm kind of, you know, just waiting for the dust to settle, because it looks like a lot of cards being shuffled right now. So there's no point in, like, you know, trying to jump in anything.
Yeah, just this is a great time for just mad reflection, you know, about the whole thing, and just not to jump in. That the whole thing is just
that's
really,
just personally me. So
yeah.
I think other people, maybe they would not feel that way. They could find somebody on the path that, like, you know, that they're within enough of a radius of each other to where it wouldn't bother each other, to where the other one wouldn't be felt like they're just getting pushed too hard, and the other one wouldn't feel like they're pulling too hard or something. You know, whatever. If it's or equals, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe, you know, I think that's like maybe a little bit easier, because I've just been kind of estranged for so long from, like, society and everything in every way, that, like, I feel like it's just hard. Like, you know what I mean? My assimilation back into, like, committing to another person, like, it'd be crazy. Like, every time I've ever done it in the last 6-7 years, like, I always knew that it was, you know what I mean, it was gonna end. At this point, it's just like, you know, ultimately, I guess everything ends, but, like, you know, I guess you just want to have, like, a lot of clarity on, like, what the bounds of the situation is. You know what I mean? And I feel like at this point, I could communicate something pretty good, but I'm gonna wait a little bit longer till I can maybe communicate a contract that's a little better, and then maybe once I can fathom an idea what that even looks like, then maybe I can have a relationship.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really huge, and be able to take the sincere time to, like, get that firm in your inner truth in that, so you really can get there. And then
it's just so it's not, I don't want to offend nobody no more at this point. It's just like, all right, man, you know, if me being alone, if that's what it means, you know what I mean, then I'll just do that. But
steadfast,
you know,
like the sage.
Yeah, it is what it is, you know. I'd rather be alone than force something. That's way worse than being alone to me.
Yeah, huge, and I wanna just leave it there for now, because this is just both our own perspectives and own experiences. There's tons of different tantric people who could just be, because that's where I'm at. I'm 25, so I haven't had, like, you know, the back of my 20s like yours.
Yeah.
You know, to where I can start to get a more, like, I don't know, jaded perspective. But I'm not saying you're jaded, but it's tough.
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm
tough.
jaded.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's really tough. So I'm like, what do you mean? You just align. Do the inner alignment. Do the breathing. She's doing it too. Quantum field, you know, at a time, same time. What are you worrying about? I'm literally like,
I mean, it's just like, how long do I have to wait for this? You know what I mean? How many years of this? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, you know, and then it's like, and then now it's like, my body is gonna always be a traitor at this point, just because of its addiction. It's like a whole nother level of addiction to woman, because the type of chick that I was messing with, you know, like my whole life, like what my body's physically into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then I'd be times where I'd be like, damn, I like the shape or the frame or whatever, but, like, this is like almost like, I don't know, it's almost like, it's like really like some past life shit. I was like, damn.
You feel like you're being punished?
No, I mean, I'm punishing myself if I am, but I mean, like, I just feel like it's wild, like, how my body, what it's into. You know what I mean? Like, as far as, like, the shape of the chicks that I'm in, but, like, how that's a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? How, like, generally, if she has this type of water content, she's going to have this type of mucus content, and this type of fungus content.
But she's more thicker.
Yeah, and then, so then it's going to be, you know, I just think about it all the time, like, how much of me is the fungus? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, at this point, it's, like, so much. They have such a, you know what I mean? It has such a stranglehold on me, and so I know, like, a lot of motherfuckers, they got the stranglehold on thrush. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like worms and all that ain't that big of a deal once you can knock that out. You know what I mean? Pinworms and worms and all that. You know what I mean? There might be some if you got some deep traumas somewhere and they're suppressed, maybe you got some worm.
Got a snake.
Yeah, like a fucking heartworm somewhere. You know, maybe if you got like a deep childhood trauma, maybe that you don't even remember. Maybe one of those. You know what I mean? But I feel like to me it's just fungus at this point. Thrush, like, the candida, like that, like I can just see like it's occupation of me, and it's just like wow, like how it's like it's just relentless. It is relentless. Every moment that I'm not focusing on like inhabiting my body, the candida is like plotting. That's what I feel like. It's just constantly like, you know, doing whatever it has to do to make its rounds. Like,
and you playing on hard mode, not having as much melanin.
Yeah, it's tough,
as people
man.
who have a lot.
Yeah, it's because they were filling the gaps for so long. The fungus was filling the gap. You know what I mean? Because it was no light coming through. I'm trying to grow the light. You know what I mean? I have to get rid of the fungus so that I can inhabit that region again in my body. And the only way I can do that is, you know, just stop dehydrating and stop doing things that make it more inhabitable for them. So they can, I mean, the fungus really occupies, man. I can feel like the will of the fungus. You know what I mean?
So it's fungus, like, cause oh man, a woman, I really like thickness is great, but it's a lot of water.
It's a lot, man.
It's a lot of
you
water.
gotta think about it's just damp. Tough. Like, you know what I mean? Taoist Chinese medicine, they're like, oh, it's damp. It's very damp. You're very damp. You're very damp.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Yep.
Montauk hit you with that. Oh, he's very damp.
It's elemental. It's elemental. So, you know, from that perspective, it's tough.
So, yeah, you're looking at your body like that, and you're like, oh, man, you're a woman, so it's even more, probably. Generally. Like, you know, being emotionally inclined most of the time, I'm like, damn, man, you really got the fungus going.
So, but it's still, we can still get through it. We can still you know, transform ourselves.
I'm just saying, it just messes with my mind.
Yeah,
my mind is
and that's
messed
the challenge.
Up, you know
so dealing with that is that's the spiritual training. That's the spiritual practice.
I gotta have the patience. I guess I gotta have like a chick that I guess that I can deal. I don't know, man.
It's the right amount because she gotta be trying. Because I'm gonna be tried. Like I do feel like, oh man, I'll be annoying. It's annoying.
But I'm like a fucking shogun. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like, bitch, shut up for the rest of your life.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'm so authoritarian with the bitches.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
it's tough. It's hard.
You know what I mean? It's hard. Like, 'cause that's how I really be feeling deep down. I'm like, that's how I feel. So I shouldn't be around you. like that's how that's what I've been doing. Kind of just taking myself out of the equation. Like, until this goes away, I don't need to be around y'all. I guess, you know what I mean. And if it never goes away, then I guess when the dust settles, if it's a chick around, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, and dealing with it, and then you know, not tolerating, but it's just every time it comes up, it's just we grow, we get even more wisdom and spiritual power. It's just to acquire wisdom and spiritual power.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I better get. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna get some craziness if I ever get past this jadedness. If I ever can somehow see it another way.
You're gonna do it.
If I could get some perspective to see things another way.
I believe.
Because I know that's all it is. Is I need perspective, and I'm not getting. I just feel like, come on, man. Where is this perspective? You know,
well,
like,
you know, to be continued.
Like, please don't be traumas. I don't need a bunch of traumas. Come on, just show me.
It's just undoing traumas. Probably healing traumas.
Yeah.
You know, and then it never is what you could expect. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited even more. You know, to see what your 30s are like. See what the end of my 20s is like.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. It's very interesting. It's an interesting movie for everybody at this point.
But if you're on the breath, it's lucid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got a way out.
Yeah, you're more in control. You can write, you can change the play if you want, change the script. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got options.
Well, cool. Well, yeah. So shout out to all the Patreon peeps. Hope you got some gems. Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
No, man. That's it, man.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. Peace.
All right, man.
All right, cool.